Hi, good morning. Happy Fitness Friday. I'm so excited to be here. If you look outside, I've got my computer turned today. Hi, Insta. If you look outside, it's sunny. Finally, it's like spring has finally sprung. I'm so pumped about that. And I'm wearing some bright green today. I'm just feeling really springy. Okay, you guys, I have some cool stuff to talk to you about today. This is something that I think is so overlooked and so vital. And so good morning, Jennifer. So if you guys are jumping on here, let me know that you're here. Wave. Give me a thumbs up and a heart so that, hi Erin, good morning, so that I know you're here and that this is landing with you. I love it when I get some feedback from you guys, and I just like to know, who's here, where you're from, what's going on, questions, just pop them here as we go. So this is a topic that is really exciting for me to talk about because I think it's the one, like I said, that is most underutilized and that can give you the most results fastest, which is what everyone wants, right? We always want a quick fix. Now, I'm not to say that there's ever a quick fix, but this can definitely help speed your progress with your health and your fitness, okay? Good morning, Insta. So I've got some people popping on Insta. They're saying hi, so I love that. Okay, you guys, so hi, Leanne. Hi, Sarah. Christy, what's up, girl? Okay, let's dive in, shall we? So let's talk about this. So I think that most people in our culture think that we're not moving enough, right? But what I think is that we're not moving correctly enough, right? I think there's a difference there. So I want to talk about the different ways our body has to recover in order for us to be our healthiest, most fit, and for us to look our best and lose excess body fat. Okay, so first of all, it is structural. Ligaments, bones, muscles, tendons. That's a structural component of recovery. The next is neurological, right, which is our mental health, our ability to focus, our ability to have more cognition and be more productive with our brain health. The next thing that we have to recover from is the physical or hormonal imbalances that can come from not properly training your body with progressive intended overload and with a good program in place, right? So hi, Lon. Good morning from New York City. I love that. So let's talk about that for a minute. So I know all of you have heard this time and time again, but my biggest thing when it comes to exercise is to reduce the amount of duration, endurance, cardiovascular exercise, and increase the intensity of high interval training. Did you guys get that? So the best way to combat this explosion in a hormonal imbalance from constantly getting on the hamster wheel at the gym, constantly being at that 60% of your max, running outside for hours, endlessly cycling at a very low rate, is going to dramatically increase your cortisol levels, and they're going to stay that way for a longer period of time. Okay, so the best way to train for recovery and for rest, and we'll get to that in a second, is to train at a level where you're really increasing your intensity for a smaller duration of time. So they've actually had studies shown that your cortisol, when you exercise for longer than 30 minutes, your cortisol is 2 times as high every 10 minutes you exercise. Can you guys believe that? That's crazy talk, right? That's crazy. So if you're thinking about it, what's happening after that 30-minute mark is you're really just wasting your time and energy, and you could be actually harming yourself, right? So I want you to think about exercising and not going out for those long endurance runs unless you're actually training for an endurance athlete, and you are an endurance athlete. If you're really just working out to lose weight, be healthy and strong, you really want to keep that high intensity interval training under 20 minutes, honestly. I don't ever go above that for the high intensity training. So that's a really good way for you guys to just gain some insight into what your body hormonally does when you stress it for that amount of time, okay? So what I want you to think about in that instance is your hormone balance. So what happens is if your cortisol is constantly at a high and you're running every day for hours on end, you're cycling, then you're in the gym working out, right? What you think you're doing is you're trying to lose weight or get your fitness goals met. Well, what's actually happening is you're derailing yourself. You're actually slowing down your progress, okay? Because what happens is our hormones start to react in a negative way. right? They start to react in a negative way, and it causes a very unkind hormonal imbalance shift. It's a cascade of hormones that will get unbalanced. So what happens is when your cortisol level is high, your testosterone levels drop significantly, your progesterone levels drop significantly, and your estrogen levels drop significantly. That's not fun. That's going to cause your human growth hormone to drop, which is the tool and the key hormone to creating longevity, muscle density, low body fat. All of that's going to drop. Not only is it going to drop and you're going to feel really bad, your energy is going to be low, you're going to feel like your limbs are heavy, you're going to feel like you can't sleep well, you might even have heart palpitations, all these things, your sex drive will drop dramatically. 3 o'clock comes and you're going to be on the couch. All of those things are going to happen when you have that imbalance in those hormones and that hormonal cascade. The next thing that can happen at that point is you can actually have adrenal fatigue, right? And if we know anything about adrenal fatigue, that is when your hormones just completely start to shut down and they can no longer produce the DHEA and all the hormones that we need in order to feel healthy and good and energetic, okay? I have firsthand experience with that. I've suffered adrenal fatigue for years when I was overtraining for bikini fitness figure competitions, and it was definitely not a fun place to be. My hair was starting to fall out. My hormones completely stopped working, you guys. It was a really hard time, and it's hard to re-engage your adrenals and get them back without proper supplementation and rest. So that's some information on the hormone part of it. And so I really want to emphasize how vital it is to not overtrain your body. Okay, especially with that endurance, long endurance, duration cardio that, we were told years ago is what we should do for heart health, but in reality, it actually has the opposite effect on our health and our wellness. Okay, so the other thing I want to talk to you guys about is sleep. I know you hear this all the time, but your body, when you work out and when you're in the gym and you're breaking down muscle, because when you're actually lifting weights and you're pushing your body, what's happening is you're actually breaking down the muscle tissue. Right? You're breaking it down. And what happens when you break down the muscle tissue, the only way it can repair itself is with proper rest, hydration, yeah, lots of water, and proper food, right? Nutrition. Okay, so when you break down that muscle, if you're not getting good rest, what happens is your body can't repair itself on a cellular level. So good rest is not just in and out sleep. Good rest is a hearty night's sleep where the room is dark, it's hopefully cold. You might even have a grounding blanket or a heavy blanket on your bed to help you really get into a deep sleep, and that you've actually reduced the cortisol at night so that you can actually get into that deep recovery sleep. Okay, so it's a really important part. It's more about quality than quantity. I tell my clients that a lot. So if you're getting, if you think you're getting 9 hours of sleep, but it's really not quality sleep and it's just in and out sleep, you're really not doing yourself any favors. Okay, so really try to learn how to get that quality rest and sleep at night. And it's really hard in this, culture that we've created of overwhelm, right? Where we're on our smartphones until 11 o'clock at night staring at a blue screen. So that's a really tough thing to do, but breaking that habit of that smartphone at night will help you get into that deeper recovery sleep, okay? And so also I just want to make sure that you guys are very much aware the goals and the progress doesn't happen in the gym, right? That's a stimulant we use to help ourselves grow muscle and become stronger. And that only happens at night when you're sleeping. Okay. So you've got to sleep if you really want to reach your goals, and you've got to sleep with quality sleep, not just in and out sleep. Okay. Where you woke up at 2 o'clock, you go back to sleep at 4, you wake up again at 6. And a lot of us are doing that now because we're in this constant state of this hyper fight or flight world, which is our, sympathetic nervous system versus our parasympathetic nervous system. And speaking of that, when you're working out, you're constantly stressing that sympathetic nervous system to respond in that, way to get a lot of your nervous system really going. But you have to be able to bring that back down into the parasympathetic state so that your body can rest and recover. And so those two states are natural, but you have to be able to get to the parasympathetic state and bring your body down. That's why, at the end of your workout, you really need to make sure you're stretching, breathing, and releasing some of that stress hormone out of your system so you don't carry it with you the rest of the day. Does that make sense, you guys? Hi, Todd. So if that makes sense to you, let me know, because that's a really important part, Okay, so I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that, but let's talk now about hydration. So this is part of recovery and rest, right? So our body needs proper hydration in order to help all functions of the body. So if you're trying to really reach your weight loss goals, your body's really got to be hydrated so that it can circulate good nutrients throughout your body and that your body feels safe and secure and it's not put in a state of stress. And if you're not well hydrated, it also can put more stress on your heart, which is really, not what we want. We're actually exercising to have a healthier heart. So if you're not hydrating, you're putting more stress on your heart and your cardiovascular system. Okay, so really make sure you're hydrating. And when I say hydrating, I recommend my clients drink, about 60 ounces a day of water minimum. And that's a really hard thing for people to do, especially me. I'm actually really guilty of that. I have a hard time. So I drink a lot of tea, unsweetened herbal tea, because it tastes better and I like it, especially in the winter months. So however you need to get that's great, but I just recommend not adding anything like Crystal Light to your water or anything with additives, because it actually taxes your body and having to process those chemicals, right? Because those are all chemicals that your body has to process. And if your liver is busy processing chemicals and artificial food or alcohol or any other toxins in your system, it cannot properly function. Therefore, it cannot properly filter fat through your body. Did you guys get that? That's a big one. I know. Okay, so those are just some very few tips. The next one I'm going to go to, and it just goes back to the base of everything I talk about, is nutrition. And so if you're feeling like you're tired, you don't have the mental motivation to go to the gym anymore, you're feeling like you're foggy, you're feeling lethargic, you're having trouble sleeping, and you're feeling that way and you don't really understand why, it might be part of the fact that you might be doing too much cardiovascular endurance training. So I really want you guys to get that. And especially if all of a sudden your libido drops and you have no sex drive, that's a good indicator that your hormonal cascade and imbalance is way off. Okay. So those are all signs that you want to reevaluate your training program, and that you're making sure that you're having a progressive overload and scheduling in those days of rest and recovery and getting lots of sleep. Now, I will talk to you guys a little bit about one thing. I typically ask people to do their happiness activity in my programs, which is, cardio sometimes just makes me cringe, that word. I just don't like it. So I think of it as a happiness activity. So when I talk to you about overtraining and, endurance cardio and such, I'm not talking about going a walk in the park with dogs. I'm not talking about going on a nature walk or a recovery walk. And so when I talk about happiness activity, it's things that are joyful, that you're moving, but you're not taxing your system. So you're keeping it in that parasympathetic state, that rest and recovery state, instead of that sympathetic drive hard, fight or flight hormonal response that's going to elicit cortisol, right? So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And I'm a big proponent on happiness activities. I think that doing things that are joyous in our movement is really important. And it's not always about killing it or crushing it in the gym, right? You've got to have balance there. So let's talk a little bit more about nutrition. Okay, so if you're feeling, like I said, tired, run down, lethargic, your sex drive's low, all those things, I really would caution you, if you're on this weight loss journey, if you're on this weight loss journey, to, instead of adding another training day or thinking you have to do more, what you really want to do is take 2 or 3 days completely off of the gym. It's going to give you more progress long term. Take a step back, reevaluate your progressive overload. If you don't have someone writing a program for you and you have some really specific goals, you need to have a professional do that for you. It's really important. Because if you don't have something in a plan, then you don't plan for those rest days, you're going to get to this point where you just lose motivation, right? And you get tired and you don't even want to go to the gym anymore. So I really recommend that. But fueling your body for recovery is vital. So I talk about this a lot, but your body is inflamed when it's stressed, and you have these stressors that you're putting on it from lifting weights. So you've got to get some of that inflammation out. The way to do that is to eat properly. So a good, clean diet, free of additives and artificial flavors and sweeteners. Sometimes gluten is a big inflammation factor for lots of people. Sometimes dairy is a huge inflammatory for lots of people. So you just have to figure that out and see what works for you and what doesn't. I recommend going on a very low gluten diet. I also recommend keeping your dairy to a minimum. If you have issues with dairy at all, avoid it. If your body's telling you something, just avoid it. It's not good for you. Some people can tolerate it better than others. So I would recommend you get a very clean diet going, and with lots of protein for recovery and lots of good healthy fat to eliminate some inflammation. And that can come from good sources of salmon that are wild caught and some good omega-3 fish oil caplets that you can take. That's going to be great for your inflammation and to reduce that in your body. Okay. Thanks for the thumbs up, guys. I appreciate it. It helps me understand that this is landing with you. So those are some things to do with recovery with regards to nutrition. The other thing is we focus a lot on the macros, like I just said about, getting a lot of protein. That's a macronutrient. But another thing we need to focus on is the micronutrients, right? So the vital micronutrients in your body that help actually your function of your internal being work. So your body needs vitamins, minerals, and things that come from food. Okay, you need certain things in your body to function, like magnesium and calcium and some of those electrolytes, sodium, that are going to help balance your body out. And you need them from good, healthy food. Lots of green leafy vegetables are full of potassium and full of lots of minerals that you can't get anywhere else. So you really want to load your system up when you're, you're feeling like you might be a little overtrained, or you might need a little extra rest and recovery with those green veggies. It's the best thing to do. It's going to help you feel better. It's going to help your body replenish itself and repair at a cellular level. And that's what we're after, right? Okay, so I hope that helps you guys. Do you guys have any questions on any of this so far? I don't see any questions pop up. I see you guys a lot on here. Oh yeah, Mary Beth has a question. So Mary Beth is asking, should I add in omega-3 supplement? Yes, absolutely. Omega-3 supplements are something that I never go without. Never. I take them on planes with me. I take them on vacation. It is one of the number one things that for inflammation, and there's so much inflammatory, things in our environment now, that it's imperative that you take an anti-inflammatory, and perfect anti-inflammatory is the omega-3 supplement. So I remember, Lon, you just made me remember this thing about when we were in New York and we saw you. I was with my girlfriend Megan, our friend Megan, and I forgot my omega-3s, and I almost had a panic attack. This was a conversation we were actually having in the hotel room in the morning. I did not bring my omega-3s with me, and I was looking online, the closest place I could walk to go to a Whole Foods to get them, because that's how important they are to me. But of course, Megan, the healthy person that she is, she's like, oh, I have tons. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that that's a very important thing to do. So I hope that helps you guys. And then also, programming yourself in with allowing, and let me digress for a second. Programming proper training into your life is important to stay fit and healthy. If you are an endurance elite athlete, this is probably not the conversation you're having, because you're really working towards a different goal. But for us, right, for the people that are trying to be healthy, to look great, to feel great, to live their best life, this is good advice for you. Okay, this is great advice for you. And it's also shown that usually elite athletes, because they're under such stress and their body's under such demand all of the time, they develop, I think there was a study done in the Journal of Science in Europe that showed 3 different groups: a sedentary group, a moderately fit group, or a regular active recreational fitness person, and an elite athlete. And the elite athletes had 68% more upper respiratory infections than the middle group, the group that was just working out to be healthy, where they only had about 20%. They only got about 20% upper respiratory, and then the sedentary group was around 30 to 40%. So if you can see that, it's you don't want to go to the extreme, but you don't want to do nothing either. You want to stay right in the middle. And that upper respiratory study is done because it's a good indicator of your immune system, right, where your immune system's staying. So when you're putting that much tax and stress on your system, whether it be physical or emotional, if you're going through a lot of stress in your life, your body's going to be constantly taxed and stay in that sympathetic nervous system state, which is going to increase your cortisol all the time. So if you want to find middle ground, moderation, you guys, don't go to the extreme, don't. If you're having some issues and you're really trying to lose body fat and weight, really get your food under control, you guys. It's really 80% food, right? So you're better off, and your health is better off, and you're going to feel better if you just decide to take a step back from the gym instead of pushing through, and really get a hold of your nutrition, right? And if you need help with that, let me know. That's what I do. Like, that's my job. But that's the best way to go about it. So if you're struggling there, it really doesn't have to be so complicated. It can be very simple. It's getting your nutrition in line with some really good anti-inflammatory foods in your diet. And then, of course, moderation is key. And then getting really good high-fat food in your diet. It's good quality fat to help you feel better and to repair your hormones is important too, especially if you're in adrenal fatigue. Getting good fat to repair that hormonal imbalance is key. Okay, so all right, lots of good stuff here today. So does that help you guys? This landing with you? Okay, Mary Beth, you're saying wow, so I think that means good. So just try to take a step back. And I was actually looking at one of my clients' programs today, and we were kind of going through some things back and forth, and I actually messaged her and said, take 3 days off. Like, don't do anything, go for a walk in nature, take 3 days off, right? So, I mean, you've got to really look at it as a balance, an overall balance. And if you are super stressed in your life, if you're going through a huge monumental thing like I've actually gone through in the last month with my family, most of you know that, there's a lot of stress in my life, right? So I'm constantly being taxed in that way because it's, grief is stressful and what I've gone through is stressful. So I have to really watch the balance of how I'm pushing myself in the gym and really pay more attention to nourishing my body properly, right? Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you learned something here. And I hope that if you're feeling that way and you're feeling like, you're just constantly running, or doing so much endurance training that you're tired, or that you're having some of those other, health issues, you're getting sick more frequently, you're feeling exhausted mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you feel, unmotivated, you might just need a little bit of a break. And if you give yourself some grace and allow yourself to step into that and lean into that instead of fight with it, it's going to really yield the best results for not only your weight loss, fitness goals, but for your overall health, well-being, mental sanity, and your immune system. So good advice here. So hopefully you listen. If you guys have questions on this, or you have questions on your training program right now, or if you're not quite sure how to do that, if you don't know how to do a progressive overload training program that's balanced, that's going to help you, be your healthiest and most fit, let me know. I'm here to help. So I'm always happy to answer questions. And as always, just message me on Insta. You can just direct message me, or on Facebook, you can just PM me. So, all right, you guys, I hope you have a great weekend. I'm going to get out and enjoy the sunshine today and try to get into the mountains. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend as well. Okay, bye.